Welcome, low ego action heroes. This is Debbie Levitt from dcx, and welcome to our Tuesday show, which will become our every other Tuesday show soon. This is Ask Me Anything and Critical Thinking, and this is where you get to get some free mentoring, coaching, advising, whatever you want to call it. You are welcome to ask any question you have about customer experience, user experience, product strategy, business strategy, product management, whatever you think I know something about, your questions are welcome. Hello, Ana Lucia. As always, I want to thank my paid Patreon members. That is the wrong button. Why didn't it show up where it's supposed to? Oh, that got weird. Hold on, too many buttons pressed. I'm having a grumpy moment here. Well, normally I would be thanking our paid Patreon members, but it's not coming up on the screen. So hopefully we'll be able to still run our show today. Very strange. Let's see what happens if I press this. Okay, that's paid Patreon members, and that's me sharing my screen. All right, we'll get there. So I didn't get any questions ahead of time. You are welcome to send in your questions live in the chat, though they might come up with your name on it, so that's up to you. Or you can use dcx.to, which has a link for you to send in longer questions, anonymous questions. Those will come into my email, and I'll take a moment to copy and paste them and add them to what we're doing here. So what I did get ahead of time were two articles that people wanted me to look at for the critical thinking part of the stream. So we'll jump into those. But of course, if anybody has any questions, I would love to answer those. So send them on in or write them in the chat, whatever's relevant to CX and UX and strategy and stuff like that. Tomorrow is our Life After Tech stream. That's where you are going to be asking your questions more like, what the heck happened to tech and what's going on with my job and will this turn around? Today we're talking about doing the work. I don't know why that message comes up. I got to fix that someday. All right, so let's take a look at, let me flip over to sharing my screen, which usually is embarrassing, but hopefully I'll get it right this time. And here we go. All right, so this should be an article that we got and the chat room and me. This is a Medium article released a few weeks ago from someone I'm not familiar with. I think your Stream Element spot was updated. Now it's going funky. Yeah, I gotta reset it up. So I haven't seen this article before, so let's take a look at it. So 5 funny metaphors to explain why I don't know if that's supposed to be like IT or what is it, not too sure, needs UX professionals. Obviously, if you're going to introduce something as funny, I hope it will be funny. I hope none of us will be crying. So let's take a look. This article tells 5 little entertaining stories to explain why you need UX experts to design interfaces. It's this person again. The intended audience of those stories is people involved in product development process. Okay, why is UX sometimes misunderstood? Is this the funny story? Or is this some sort of how to improve UX facilitation, metaphors to create a deeper understanding, cooking? So this article's a little bit tough right out of the gate because, Ana Lucia says, oh no, because this was introduced as funny and entertaining and metaphors, but it looks like we started out with a giant explanation of stuff with a whole bunch of citations, which can come off a little bit professional or academic. Martin says, gestures broadly at everything. Yeah, that could be at this point. Thank you, Martin. So there are a lot of reasons behind. And when I see stuff like this, I always say, I don't think this person had a thorough editing process, because it's really good to read your articles out loud before you publish them. Because if you had, you might notice that that sentence kind of doesn't end in a way that most speakers would end a sentence. Maybe that's a stylistic thing the author is going for, but I don't know what they're going for. So Isn't that a bit huge as an article? It does look like a very long article, and all of what does anybody else think of as soon as you see this headline with the bullet points, the headline with the bullet points, the headline with the bullet points? I'm going to wait 40 seconds because that's our delay. What do you think of as soon as you see that? And meanwhile, while you tell me what you think it is, I don't think that letting team members do UX design is educating people about UX. It's a fallacy we've had for some years, and it's now in the process of truly hurting, if not ending, our industry. So no, these things don't educate. Education would be education. Letting people do our work is not education. I'm not too sure why people confused those things, but I assume it was a lot of weird gaslighting. Oops, I'm sharing my screen and now you can see the things. AI written, Danny's got it. Yeah, Ana Lucia's not wrong in that it can feel a little PowerPointy, but Danny hit at what I was thinking. And thanks, Danny. I don't think we've seen you here in a while. Totally. I absolutely thought this looked like a very typical response. Sometimes I use Claude. I don't use the other one, so I don't know what a ChatGPT response necessarily looks like, but it definitely felt like a standard AI response. This format will end up becoming a meme. Just clear ChatGPT. Yeah, Martin, you're on a roll today. Yeah, so this feels very LLM, let's just say. And so that loses me as well, especially since, I don't agree with these points. And the question is how to improve UX facilitation, but that wasn't the original point of the article. So where are we and what are we talking about here? Or is this just some weird SEO grab where we're just going to put every keyword on the planet in this article and hope that people find it? Cooking. With luck, your mother is a good cook, but your father or your sibling, anyone can put pizza in a microwave. That's from one of my, who remembers me saying that years ago? I think that was even in one of my books. But also, let's not make generalizations about genders or parental roles. My father was a much better cook than my mother. So, what are we doing right now? What is this? Everybody can cook, but you go to a restaurant. Treat your product with the same ambition. Let experts shape the user experience. So unfortunately, again, for me, this doesn't land. I don't think this is a good enough here on the channel, we talk about meaningful, actionable, and helpful. And this is lacking meaning. Obviously, it's a bad AI art thing since you have fake words here. It's lacking meaning. I don't know how to take action on this, and it's not helpful. So I'm going to close this one right now. I think we're done with this one. I don't think that this was a strong article, and that looked surprisingly... Anyone can push a piano's buttons, but when you turn on music, you listen to expert with an image of a person playing a saxophone incorrectly. I'm not sure that person is correctly putting their mouth around the saxophone reeds the way you're supposed to. Anyone can cut your hair. Oh my gosh, I always say this, right? I always say, I can cut your hair, but you won't be happy I did. I have a strange feeling this person is influenced by me, but I'm not really happy with where this article has gone. And I don't feel like, I always remind people, especially as I coach writers, your article must deliver on the promise of the title and possibly the subtitle. So this must be 5 funny metaphors. That's it. The rest of it was just some weird AI diarrhea. I'm not too sure what happened there. Ana Lucia said, I have seen those funny metaphors on LinkedIn recently, and it didn't have that whole introduction. Yeah, I saw a few of them too. I didn't think they were funny, and I didn't think they were well enough put together to be powerful metaphors. All right, moving on. Remember, you can send in your questions or things like that at dcx.to. Otherwise, join on in. This is audience participation. This is another Medium article from a few weeks ago from a nameless entity called Path Unbound. So that makes me a little nervous right there. The ugly realities of the UI UX design industry. So who is Path Unbound? 209 followers. Make a great living doing what you love. Learn UI UX and visual design the right way and launch your high-paying design career. Path Unbound. Who wants to read my mind? Who wants to say what I'm thinking? I'll wait. While I wait, let's fix my system here. So you'll just have to look at the sausage being made while I do this. And 1227. Okay, let's see if I can get into my little IP address here. 1.227. Okay. All right, let's see. Did that work? Cool. Okay, so I've got my remote control panel working. Ana Lucia says, I see UI UX. I get out of there. Oh, no. That's not even that. This appears to be some sort of boot camp or course trying to tell you you can do what you love and you're going to get a great career in design. And I don't think that's true anymore. I think we know now that a lot of these courses and boot camps are not leading to jobs and careers. The market, it can't sustain them. So again, be very careful about who the authors are. It seems very strange that somebody trying to promote their boot camp or course is trying to tell you ugly realities, but I wonder if they're going to try to say that they are the solution. So that's just me kind of warning myself a little bit about an angle that this article might take, but we don't know. With promises of high pay, flexible work opportunities, and an accessible entry into tech, many have flocked to the UI UX design industry. It combines creativity and business acumen, making it a dream job for those looking to escape traditional, less imaginative roles. This doesn't feel recent. But while the surface might shine with possibility, the truth is that the industry harbors many harsh realities that aspiring designers only hear about once they are deep into their careers. Here are some of the ugly truths that we've experienced firsthand as seasoned industry veterans. Okay, so we still don't know who these people are. They haven't said, hi, my name is Jenny Smith, and I've been doing this for 412 years. So there just seems to be this unknown people, so I don't know. The UI UX design process you learn in school is a fantasy. Varying levels of design maturity. Was there a number here? No. Ugly realities. So we don't know how many there are. Lack of support systems. You'll have to clean up other people's messes. Your work may feel invisible. Your work will be changed. You may be asked to design against your morals. All right. Fewer freelance opportunities for designers. Specialization is becoming less viable and generalists tend to fare better, which again is a trend that comes and goes, but could be true right now. Difficulty transitioning into leadership roles, threats from AI automation, industry saturation. So what should you do? Usually those articles that say UI UX are already based on a false premise. UI is an area, UX another area. There is no UI UX. Only these boot camps and people looking for unicorns believe that. So again, notice that all of this was really just a long sales pitch for their school. Now, again, there's only so much I can throw stones from my glass house. When I write articles on Medium, I'm typically right now ending them with buy my Life After Tech book or join my Life After Tech community for free. So I understand the idea of using an article partially or wholly to promote something. The difference is that if you hate my book, you've probably spent $10 to $20. It's a very low risk investment. If you steal my book from a friend, you've spent $0. But if you're going to go to their school, chances are it's more than $10. The last paragraph, says Ana Lucia. Yeah, so, and the interesting thing that I notice with critical thinking hat on, here's my critical thinking hat for those of you new to the channel. With critical thinking hat on, it is quite likely that nothing in their school fixes all the stuff you just heard. So here's a whole bunch of problems. Our school doesn't solve them, but we think we're going to give you a good start. So of course, let's take a look. Let's fall for it. And let's take a look at their school. And let's see if they're claiming 92.5% of people are employed within 6 months. Obviously, I don't necessarily believe that. Here's 2 people I've never heard of. Intro to color theory. Well, they certainly have the UI here. Possibly. UX design, you'll learn how to research, ideate, wireframe, and prototype. Again, the way this is written tells me it doesn't seem to be written by a UX veteran. These might be UI veterans. Now, of course, I'm looking for the price. Here it is. $650. So again, I think that in general, I'm recommending against these things. I don't think they're worth it. I don't think they're likely to pay off. And when we take a look at job descriptions right now, whether it's UX or UI or UI UX or product designer, I'm not going to get hung up on these titles anymore. How many of these companies are happy with someone with no experience who just went through a X month long program, 3, 4, 5, whatever it is months? From what I hear, nearly zero. Even people with 1 or 2 years of experience are telling me they cannot find jobs that want under 3 years of real, very often corporate or sometimes startup experience. And so I think that we have to be much, much, much more careful with where we spend our money for upskilling. And again, I even say this as a person who has courses for sale and has a book for sale or multiple books for sale. I recognize that when I tell you to think critically about what courses you're going to buy or what books you're going to buy, you might decide to not buy my courses and not buy my books. And guess what? I completely support you, because then you will have thought critically about it and made an informed decision to spend your money or not spend your money. And that is key. You can't just take the sales pitch at its, like if they say, 92.5% of people are employed. Doing what? And for how long? How many of them were laid off? When is that statistic from? How many people is that based on? Is that based on 45 people out of 50 finding a job? Is that based on hundreds? We don't know. So whenever we see these numbers, we should be asking questions, because this is critical thinking. All right, let me flip back to first let's get this off the screen because I got my number. And we'll go back to a giant picture of me. Alrighty. So, welcome back. So this is Ask Me Anything and Critical Thinking. I'm happy to take any questions you have about doing CX and UX work, doing more strategic or leadership work, product management and product strategy. This is your time to get free mentoring and advice from me. That is what I do. And of course, yes, thank you to our Patreons. I think I can put up these. This is a list of both past and present. Some people have downgraded, and I totally support that as well. And but thank you for the people who supported while you did. Otherwise, I'm just happy to see people join the Patreon for free. It's part of our community. Ana Lucia, I just took a look. The school seems to be focused on visual branding and UI. Then they threw in a UX designer among the instructors. Yeah, I could tell from the way that they had really detailed lessons about UI. And then when you got to UX, it was like, oh yeah, we'll teach you everything. Then I can say, oh, okay, I get it. These people probably aren't even sure how to explain this, because if I were going to be, let's say I wanted to create a course that taught you research. Now on their website, it says you'll learn research, and it's like one word for for everything. But if I said, oh, look, I'm going to teach you research, and research looks like this. You've got planning and goals and strategy. We're going to talk about how to do that. Then we're going to talk about how to write your protocol, script, and guide. How do you do that? Do you need a screener survey? How do you use those? Then we might talk about recruiting. How do we find the right number of the right people to involve in our study, no matter what type of study that is, whether it's qual or quant or a little of each. Execution. How do I become a better observer, interviewer, analysis? So basically, you can see as I start to lay this out that when someone says, yeah, I'm going to teach you research, then I start to be nervous that this is probably not a deep course of any type. This might be rather shallow or surface, because otherwise I would expect a deeper research course to use a lot more words to explain to you what they're going to teach you. So is this quant research? Is this qual research? Is it observational interview? Is it, what is it? You can't just say, and by the way, we're going to teach you research. Not buying it. Ana Lucia says, I had a whole semester of research back in university, not even including the time it took me to write my articles. Yeah, certainly if we start thinking about rigor, then certainly if a syllabus said, and you'll learn research, and then you're like, it seems a little non-specific. So yeah, it's another reason why at this time, and for many years now, I don't recommend boot camps and courses and really anything that's expensive. And it's also why I'm trying to put out things that are inexpensive, because I don't want people to feel like, oh man, I spent $650 on that and I didn't get a thing. The latest course that I put out is $77. And you can get 10% off with code COMMUNITY. It's on my dcx.to website. And if it interests you, great, take it. And if it doesn't interest you, great, don't take it. It's about being a better writer, speaker, and presenter. You can use that at work. You can use that outside of work. Whatever. But I'm not going to sell that for $650 just because I think I can. I'm going to sell it inexpensively and hope that people feel it's worth $70 American. There you go. All right, so the gong is going to go off in 3 minutes, and if we don't have any questions by then, we'll wrap up the show. But if someone does have a question, please send it in. You can put it in the chat or send it to dcx.to. If you send stuff through dcx.to when I'm not on the air, I will just save it for our next show, which again, I'm going to start to move into every other week instead of every week. Let me check when that is starting. Hold on. So tomorrow is Life After Tech Q&A. So if you have questions about what work do I go into? What happened to tech jobs? Is it turning around? That's for tomorrow's stream. That's at 8 p.m. Italy time, so you can join me then. My gosh, I'm on so many podcasts this week. Yes, I'm on 2 podcasts on Friday. I'm recording so much stuff. Let's see, Monday, another podcast. Okay, Tuesday, we should have Dr. Nick on this show. Hopefully it still works for him. I will have to check. And then I think we're shifting into an every other week cadence where the second Tuesday of each month we'll have Dr. Nick and we'll do our AMA and critical thinking. And then the fourth Tuesday of each month I'll either be alone or I'll have another special guest. And that will be the new cadence starting next week, because next week is the second Tuesday. All right, we got 2 minutes left before the gong goes off. So if anybody has any questions or any topics they'd like me to address in CX, UX, product and service strategy, business strategy, product management, things like that, let it fly. If you'd like to ask a question ahead of time for tomorrow's stream, remember, even if you miss the streams, they're archived on our YouTube channels. So for this channel, it's CX-CC. Please subscribe. And you can ask a Life After Tech question for tomorrow if you'd like. That is lat.link. So LAT for Life After Tech, lat.link/Q. for question. So you can get those in early if you'd like for tomorrow's live show, and then you will be among the first to be taken care of. All right, since we've got 1 minute left, I just want to thank everybody for dropping by today, and I hope people will check out the Your Life After Tech YouTube channel and subscribe there. We are cooking up more and more fun stuff over there. I'm cooking up less fun stuff over here just because of a lot of changes in our jobs, and I'm not getting as many questions. We used to get so many questions, we could barely answer them all in a 2-hour show. Now there are shows where there aren't questions, but I also recognize that today is the elections in America and people are distracted. Ana Lucia says, actually, I was thinking about research methodology today, and I was wondering what you think about mixing things up. For example, if you do contextual inquiry, it may be possible to do observation only, and you may even include a small interview section. Would you think this is viable? All right, let's put this down as a question we're going to answer. And so I'm always for using whatever is the right method for what we're trying to learn. So if what you're, and very often the things that I'm trying to learn, the things that I'm trying to learn are best done through observation primarily, and interview or conversation also important, but a little more secondary. So very often I'm doing both of these, but I'm typically not like over mixing my techniques. Like I'm not going to have people I'm not going to observe them and interview them and make them fill out a survey and invite people in to join us in a focus group and blah, blah, blah. And then do a card sort. So I try to keep it a little bit more focused. So very often I am doing an observational study combined with interview questions. Sometimes the observation and interview stuff is purely generative. We just want to understand who people are, how they do this now, their tasks, their needs, their behaviors. And sometimes sometimes it's more evaluative. Sometimes we're going to show them a prototype and give them a task, and we're watching and observing them, and we have some follow-up questions. And sometimes it could be a mix of generative and evaluative. I've done that as well, where we're going to start trying to learn a little bit more our audience because we're so happy we finally got the chance to talk to them. So we're going to make sure we get in some behavioral and generative questions, and then we've got a prototype or dev build or something to show them for a more evaluative type of study or usability study. So I think ultimately it's not like there's always one right methodology or one way to do things. I think that you always have to, where possible, start with your knowledge quadrant, which was episode 196 here on the CX-CC channel on YouTube. Determine what everybody needs to learn to be more successful and form their strategies, priorities, and decisions, and then determine what methods are going to best answer that. You can't just throw a usability test at everything. It doesn't answer everything. And that's a newbie mistake, as people hear about usability testing or user testing or whatever they call it, and they think, well, that just must be what we need all the time. So I think once you're thinking about choosing different methodologies, you're already leveling up because you're going beyond the newbie mistake of usability test everything and without thinking about some of that earlier observation and interview type of stuff. I hope that answers that question. If anybody has any follow-up questions, let me know. Otherwise, we will wind down. So yeah, in case we are winding down, thanks as always for joining me live or watching the video later. If you are watching the video, please give a thumbs up and maybe a friendly comment to help us a little in the algorithm. And other than that, I hope to see everybody tomorrow for the Life After Tech version. Ana Lucia is back. What made me think about this was you go into a company to improve software used internally. Contextual inquiry may be great for that, but you may even watch them use the current software, which ends up being more of a evaluative method. It really depends. Sometimes if I'm watching how they do things now, it can be more generative. It depends what you're trying to learn. If you're trying to learn more about how they do this now, that can be more generative. If you're trying to learn where we need to improve our current software because we want to do a round of fixes or a new feature, that is sometimes evaluative. But there's nothing that says it can't be a little of both. I don't feel rigid about these methodologies. I would never tell someone, look, you can only observe people with this purpose and do not add any other purposes to it. Does that make sense, Ana Lucia? I'll wait to hear it before I say goodbye a third time. Yeah, sorry about the delay. We're usually delayed 20 to 40 seconds, and then we wait for people to type their answers, and so it can seem like a little bit quiet around here. But I found the only way to make this faster is actually Twitch. I think we found Twitch was faster than YouTube, but I'm not streaming there right now. I'm streaming the Your Life After Tech there, but I'm not streaming the CXCC there. I'm streaming the karaoke there, but that's another story. I just want to wait for Ana Lucia and see if she might be typing a response, so I don't want to ignore that. And I can close my browser window because we went through those things. Yeah, Ana Lucia, let me know if you have here you go. Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking. Some people try to put methodologies into silos, but they should be like that. I don't think so. Maybe in academia. Yeah, and I don't come from academic research. I don't have a PhD. My master's was an MBA, so I didn't do a master's in UX research or HCD or that type of thing. And I think that could be possible for academia. But I personally believe in using the tools that we have to create the best outcomes, because especially as we are looking at each other and going, how do we deliver value? How do we get others to notice that we're doing valuable work? In that case, I think that flexibility is key. I don't want to do bad work. I don't want to pick the wrong methodology, but I'm open to flexibility in my methodology. I don't feel academic about it. But that's just because I don't come from an academic background, so it doesn't occur to me to say, oh yes, I must do this the way I learned it at school. All right, I'm going to really say goodbye this time and flame us out of here, and I hope to see everybody tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Italy time for the live stream on YouTube, Twitch, and LinkedIn on the Your Life After Tech YouTube and Twitch channel. Thanks again, everybody. Good night.